In Switzerland, trade talks between Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and China continue for a second day as we wait to see if the two countries can come to an agreement on lowering tariffs. Chinese exports to the U.S. are already plunging and U.S. ports are emptying. And while President Trump calls that a, quote, good thing, Democrats are sounding the alarm and taking action. This week, Senate Democrats introduced legislation to shield small businesses from Trump's tariffs. And our next guest has been on a nationwide tour focused on helping Democrats win back the working class voters they lost in the 2024 election. Joining us now, Mitch Landrieu, co-chair of American Bridge 21st Century, as well as the former senior advisor to President Biden, former national co-chair for Harris Walls 2024, and the former mayor of New Orleans. The man has more jobs than Jonathan Capehart. Hello, Mayor. Good to see you.
Hey, how you guys? Happy Mother's Day.
Good. Happy Mother's Day.
Can I just give a shout out? Can I just give a shout out to all the mothers in the world, particularly my mother, who had 9 kids. Listen up, had 9 kids in 11 years. Between all 9 of us, we have 38 kids, and she's got 25 great grandkids. That's right. You can close your mouth. It's unbelievable. To my wife and to all my sisters and sisters-in-laws, we need more women in charge. That's just, I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, right. That's the lesson that I take from all the moms we just had on set, too. You've been doing this listening tour, Mayor, and working on kind of the working class project. And I'm curious what you're hearing from people as you do this, because you are someone who, when you talk to Democrats, they always say understands how to talk plainly to voters. So what are you hearing from them?
Well, you got to try to keep it simple. But listen, the last election was really, awful to behold, and we're seeing the consequences of it right now. And unfortunately, President Trump is betraying the folks that they say voted for him to do certain things, because his first 100 days have been the worst 100 days that we've seen in a very long time. And you see this playing out. But, when you lose an election, you got to go figure out why. You got to go back to the basics. And, it's really clear from the numbers that Democratic Party over time has lost a large swath of folks that used to vote for us. And they're working class voters. They're folks that are working every day with their hands. They have their hands on other people. They're taking care of folks. They're running to fires. These are the individuals that are the backbone of the American economy. And so I thought it was really important that, like all, you got to go talk to people and listen to them. And they're going to help you understand what you misunderstood, which is why they voted against you. And so we've been crisscrossing the nation. We're going to 21 states. We're doing focus groups. We're doing polling. We're doing a whole lot of stuff. But essentially, we're just going to see people. And you can see over the past 100 days, these are folks that maybe would have voted for Obama, and then they voted for Trump, and then they voted for Biden, and then they voted for Trump again. So these are folks that are kind of in the middle, real common sense, real simple, and they're very stressed. There's a lot of anxiety there. Even some of those folks that were optimistic when Trump first started are really worried because they basically live in paycheck to paycheck. And these are self-identified working class folks. And you ask them, what makes you working class versus middle class or self-described as poor? And these are folks that are making it paycheck to paycheck, that are really worried about paying their car note, paying their house note, making sure their kids are where they need to be and have the kind of tools they need to grow up and have a better life than they did. And they're really tired of having to make, these hard choices about having a little bit of extra and just having a reasonably comfortable life. And you can see from the time we started, before Trump invoked this self-inflicted wound of these massive wrong-headed tariffs, and then after, because now they're going, wait a minute, we elected that guy really for one reason, not to take Greenland, not to take Panama, not to get focused on Alcatraz, but to lower our cost. And of course, everything's gone in the complete opposite direction.
Mitch, since you've gone to all of these states, we put the map up while you were talking. I want to point your attention to the latest NBC News poll. When they asked folks their feelings towards the political parties, 60% have a negative view of the Democratic Party. In your travels around the country, have you gotten a better understanding about why 60% of the country doesn't have a good feelings about the Democratic Party?
Absolutely. First of all, we lost, and nobody likes a loser. If you start winning, people will like you better. So I think winning is really basically everything. But they think the Democratic Party has really kind of become an emblem for weakness and wokeness, but they can't really define what that is. They think that we haven't focused enough attention on their very specific needs. And this is true. It's going to be true for the Democratic Party, the Republican Party, any human being that runs for office. What they're telling us is focus on my stuff. If you want to talk about transgender issues, that's fine. If you want to talk about abortion, that's fine. If you want to talk about anything else, that's fine. Just don't talk about it all the time. Focus on the things that are important to us that help make our lives easier. Listen, if the American dream has become too far away, has become unattainable for most people, that is something that's unacceptable to the American people. And they want us focused on economic issues and the kinds of issues, the bread and butter issues that make their lives easier. This kind of Republican budget that they just passed, that's going to eviscerate health care, or that's going to eviscerate certain federal offices that they need to make their lives easier, like FEMA or like NOAA, or like the FAA, where they need air traffic controllers to be able to see things so planes don't crash. People don't like that either. So they're looking for reason, they're looking for simplicity, they're looking for focus, and they're basically saying, pay attention to me, and if you don't, it will be at your peril. And the Democratic Party, Republican Party, anybody who's running ought to be listening to that message.
Mayor, I looked at the map of the 21 states, and I know that that's definitely a ton of work right there, but I see some states missing that make me think that Democrats are just falling into the same old trap of neglecting Mississippi, of neglecting Alabama, of neglecting Louisiana. And Beto O'Rourke was on a show recently, and he had something to say about that too, and I would love to hear your response about how the Democrats should fight. Let's listen to what O'Rourke has to say.
I really believe you got to show up everywhere. You got to fight on every front, and you got to be there for every single community that is under attack. I think our party, unfortunately, has gotten lazy and overly enamored of 7 so-called battleground or blue wall states to the detriment of Alabama and Mississippi and Texas and Louisiana. I mean, those are our fellow Americans, too.
What's your response to that, Mayor?
He's 100% correct. That's why we're doing 21 states and not 7. We're doing the 7 battleground states because that's where the fight has been for the last 4 or 5 elections, and a lot of the fight will take place there. But you notice also in those 21 states that we branch out a lot. We go to states that we should be winning, and then we go to states that we think are going to be in play in 2030. On top of that, I'm from Louisiana, so I know this state really, really well, and we're doing work here. Actually, we'll be in Texas tomorrow. So Beto is completely right. And listen, as a Democrat that won in a red state twice, I can attest to the fact that you need to go to every county. Here we have parishes, and talk to everybody, because in the areas that you would not normally win, it's really important that you lose less bad. It's all about the margin. So if you can run, and this is just kind of straight, basic 1 + 1 = 2. If you can run up numbers in a certain place, it doesn't mean that you don't have to go somewhere else. And by the way, everybody is important. And even the voices that are not for you, you can learn a lot from. There's a lot of common sense out there. Working class folks in this country built this country. They need people to fight for them and to support them when they feel left out and left behind. Then they're not going to come. So you got to go see them. And Beto's completely right about that. And we're going to do that as well.
Mr. Mayor, you gave me 2 things that gave me a little tingle in my ear. One, the listening tour, and also Democrat winning twice in a red state. Are you interested in getting back in the political arena at any time soon? Are you considering it?
Yeah, I'm not finished yet. So for those, let me say this to the people of America. We're in a moment now. We're in a crisis in this country, and every person has to do whatever it is that they can to get us back on track. If it's a little thing, do it. If it's a big thing, do it. I'm just saying, Judge, whatever it is that you can do, I think that we are in an existential crisis right now. I don't believe Donald Trump is taking us in the right direction. He's aggressively taking us in a completely wrong direction. This is not really who we are as Americans. The idea of America itself is being challenged, and people really have to step up to the plate.